Sunday morning to Real Estate Talk. I'm your host, Willie Lambright, and I say it, and I say it all the time. Real estate changes people's lives to the good. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Live in the studio is Real Estate Concierge. One of the great, you've probably heard their great commercials throughout prime time here on 570. Real Estate Concierge really gears information to you, the first-time home buyer, when you want to get involved in real estate. And let me show you how real estate can change your life to the good. That being said, this hour will be informational about the topic of real estate, and you'll leave better than when you joined us. I got to ask you, friend, have you ever wondered what it would be like to take your traditional 401 IRAs and redeploy it into investment real estate here in North Texas? Well, a lot of people want to do that because it simply yields more than traditional IRAs, 401ks. But the other hurdle is they don't want to be in the people business. Want to welcome to the studio Kerry Eford. He's the president of Eford Properties. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Nice to have you here. I like you. I like you. I like you. Me and you about the same age. We're a couple grumpy old men.
Yeah.
And we just want to get on the radio and tell people what's going on. And
we had to help each other out of the chairs while we go.
We're going to do that, right? Truth be known, Kerry, investment real estate, people, I say, when I say that traditional retirement accounts, if redeployed into investment real estate will yield you far more than what you're getting on your, regular retirement accounts. A lot of hurdles that people have about not doing that is they don't want to be in the people business. In other words, they don't want to have that flip or rental property out there and get the phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning that the toilet's backed up and yada yada yada. You guys really circumvent that, and you do it to a large scale. I think you got north of 400 properties that you are managing. Talk to me how the company evolved, where you got started, why that. I mean, you're in the people business, aren't you?
That's correct. Well, the short version of the long story is that I was working for a property management company prior to opening my own business, and decided I'd always been an entrepreneur type. I've had several businesses in the past, and all of them had their own measures of success, but I was in that, I just needed a job, and I went and found a job at this property management company, managing about 800 to 1,000 properties, and I became their property. I loved the business. I fell in love with it right away, and after 7 years of working for them, I opened the doors of Eford Properties, and one purpose to provide the best property management service you can get. We started with one $600 condo. It belonged to my wife. I had to go sell her on the service, but she came along, and then I went to broker under another name brand license company, and they allowed me to open a property management company within their brokerage service. So that's how I started with the one. It came about in the lean times of 2006, starting 05, and then 6, 7, 8, and subprime lending went away, and people couldn't sell their houses, the agents couldn't sell their houses, and it was like a perfect storm for me, okay?
Timing.
And timing, and people, the agents were good. What I did was tell them that, refer your house over to me. When they get ready to sell it, you can have your house back, no commission expected.
So they got kind of like a specialist. They got to keep like an agent that was good in selling and buying, but most agents don't know how to do the full gamut, which is leasing, property management. So that you took on that part. You were good at what you were good at, and then they got to do the other part.
And so within about a year, I had enough money coming in to replace what I was making when I had my job. My wife was working. Blah, it's a long story, but I don't want to get off into that. But we ended up with the perfect storm type thing, and grew the company up to, like 180 houses within a year, and
So about 10 years, you went from one property to 400 properties in about a decade.
right, we had 400 properties within 5 years, but as you fill the pipeline and everything, it's kind of like, it seemed like it always kind of mellowed out around 400 properties
Sure.
that we kept.
Sure.
We got up to 550 one time.
It's a lot of experience, Carrie.
Yeah.
So you have some stories, I bet, with all those years. So what's your main takeaway? Like, you and I, as professionals and practitioners, we get this question all the time, right? Why do I need property management? We get that question all the time, and it's good for a person of one and a person of 100. And sometimes even the people with just the one think they need it even less. But I think they need it even more because they really don't know what's going on. So my thought is learn, right?
Well, you're going to need a property manager. Either you're going to manage it yourself or you're going to have somebody else do it for you.
Well, I got to say this, Carrie. Me and you, we're a couple of old guys sitting up here in a radio station, right? When Heather says learn, you're going to learn one or two things. Either you like answering phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning to clean commodes or backed up commodes, or you don't. Simple as that.
That's exactly right. And it always happens at the odd hours. You're at work, you have the one property or two properties out there, and you're at work, and the tenant calls, and they can be, I love my tenants. Let me say that. I love my tenants. I love my owners. I love everybody. I love people, period.
Yeah,
But
me too.
You're going to end up with those phone calls, and you can't get to it. It's going to be an emergency. You don't know who to call, and even if you do have vendors, you're still going to have to coordinate and be on the other end of the line so they can call you back and tell you what's wrong and if you're going to spend the money, or do you want second bids? Are you telling me the truth?
Right.
So you got to have things you can trust about it. If you're going to do it, you need to be set up right to do it yourself and know what to do.
And I think, when I mean, Carrie, all the time, I mean, you're one of the people that we refer our clients to, which is why I invited you here on the radio show.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Carrie, because we only refer to people that we believe in. So you did the work, right? We just learned about you. But my sister uses you for her own personal properties, which is how we really got to know you. But one of the big pieces of advice I always give to people is not about the money, right? Because when we help them find investment properties, we always plan for our property manager. Even if they tell us, like, vehemently, we are not using a property manager, I'm like, la, 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 I'm not listening to that. I'm going to price your property based on the fact that you are. And then if we decide not to later, no problem. But I'm always going to work that cost into our return on investment because I'm a very strong believer in don't learn this the hard way. It's an expensive lesson. You don't know what you don't know. So learn the right way. And then if in a few years you want to take it on yourself, go for it. I'll even help you transition out. But you need to have that initial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years experience to learn how this business works, because it's not when you want to learn as you go. Do you agree with that?
Elaborate on that a little bit, please.
I just think there's so many parts. So one thing that Carrie was talking about is when things break. But guys, that's just one part. What about the rent collection? And what about the laws, the Texas Property Code, which most people don't even know exists? But most people, I mean, again, I've read that thing about 3 times. It was a painful read. It's boring, boring stuff. But you gotta understand what's in that volume, huh, Carrie? And it's complicated, Carrie. So that's another component. And I'm not trying to create this fear-mongering, you guys, but it's a very litigious business. It's a very hard business to get comfortable with. And I just am a firm believer in hiring.
Well, it is. You could call it complicated. It's really pretty straightforward when you read it, but it's complicated when you try to explain it to somebody that they're supposed to be, about how to, the burden of proof, when something does happen. What you want to do is just manage the business in such a way that manage your business in such a way that everything is on the up and up, explained exactly, correctly, properly, so it's understandable, and people can understand that you're out for their best interest. You're not just trying to be the landlord that nobody wants. You
Right.
know.
That's right.
Friend, I got to go to break right now. Thank you for joining us this Sunday morning here on Real Estate Talk. And at the end of the day, we're talking with our friends over at Eford Properties. Kerry Eford, great guy, founded the company, 972-572-5656. And I'm going to kind of tease this next segment. And one of the reasons that
Is it okay?
people don't realize the need for a property management company. Have you ever heard about the term emotion? Well, you want to stick around with this. When I come back, I'll tell you why. In many cases, using a property management company puts the buffer between you and the tenant so that when the time comes, you can separate emotion from business. Stick around. We'll be back in a Willie Scotia.